One thing that Christians do that honestly gets on my nerves is pretending that their gifts have zero value. God gives you a skill that takes 15 minutes to do something when it takes a regular person 5 hours to do something. And when that person asks how much you charge, you tell them, oh, don't worry about it. That's not humility. That's poor stewardship. And I really believe this is one of the mindsets that keeps most Christians broke. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to or coached someone about their gift and I'm like, oh my gosh, this person can do this thing in 15 minutes. And the way they do it, they just do it effortlessly. And I asked them how much they charge and they charge pennies on the dollar when they should be charging, hundreds, even thousands of dollars for what they do for people. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I have the conversation with them. If you put your price to this, that, and the other, you can really make a living for yourself and you can quit your job. You can quit your job. But these people are like, oh, well, I'm gonna pray about it. Oh, well, it just seems a little greedy. And I'm gonna break this down in this video because poor stewardship and fake humility is going to be the death of successful Christians in 2026. Before we dive deeper into this rant, we have to first define what false humility is versus biblical stewardship. False humility is downplaying your gifts, not taking compliments, undercharging. This is all evidence of having false sense of humility. But biblical stewardship is recognizing that the gifts that you have are not even yours. They come from a creator. They come from your God, and they're given to you, entrusted to you, loaned to you so that you can recognize them, you can sharpen them, and you can use them to give value to the world, not to worship them, but to know how to employ them. But the real question here is, why do most Christians believe that they're the only ones that can't monetize or build wealth off of their gifts? Like, you name it. There's mechanics, there's dog walkers, there's party planners, there's photographers like myself. At one point, I didn't know how to charge because I thought I was being too greedy because I didn't want to charge too much. But when you read some of the key figures in the Bible, God had a completely different approach on how he used his people to make an influence. I mean, you look at Solomon. Solomon was a perfect example of being a king who was so wise that kings and queens of all nations traveled far and wide and paid him millions and probably even billions of dollars in today's money just to sit next to him and hear his wisdom. Solomon wasn't any different than any other man. He was a king, of course, but he had wisdom that was bestowed onto him. It was a gift of wisdom so that he can benefit the people around him, so he can benefit the other kingdoms that were surrounding him. And the other kingdoms saw the value in that. And they gave the money not because Solomon was greedy for it or not because he was begging for the money, but because they knew the value that they were going to get from Solomon was far more valuable than any money they would have given him. And that's only one key figure in the Bible. I mean, you look at Joseph, you look at Bezalel. Not many people talk about Bezalel. God didn't only anoint pastors, he also anointed craftsmen. And I'll probably say this in every video, but you look at the parable of the talents. The servant that had the one talent was kicking the can down the road, afraid of taking that next step, undercharging and undervaluing what was given to him. And at the end of the day, the master rebuked him and called him wicked. Some Christians think that hiding their gift is holiness, but in the Bible, it's the complete opposite. We are called to recognize and strategize how to use those gifts so that we can build wealth and build God's kingdom. But we got to make sense right now. How are we going to build God's kingdom if we can't even make enough money to sustain our own self? It doesn't make any sense. And trust me, I know there's a lot of thoughts and theology around the topic of money. A lot of people confuse prosperity with greed, or maybe you don't want to feel judged for going after money. And the one verse that's taken completely out of context day after day is 1 Timothy 6:10. People say, oh, money is the root of all evil, we should stay away from it. But it actually says the love of money is the root of all evil. But when you go into the actual Hebrew translation, that all evil portion is talking about all types of evil, which means that people will do all types of evil things to get to money, not the actual topic of money itself. Money is a tool to provide for the people around you, to provide for your family, to make sure that your family is safe so that when you go out and transform people around you, you can actually do it. You can actually feed the poor. You can actually house the sick. You can actually do these things because money can be that tool to transform lives around you. So when it comes to pricing, I want to challenge you with this. Instead of just charging for your existence, you need to charge for these reasons. You need to charge for your skill, your experience, your time saved, the value you're giving to the customer. Stop pricing on how easy it is for you. Start pricing on how valuable that fix is for them. Now, don't get me wrong, the Lord will put on your heart times to give your services absolutely for free because some people just don't have it. But one thing that completely changed my mindset is being generous is more powerful when it's a choice. It becomes really unhealthy when it's charged with guilt. Jesus told us to love people. He didn't tell you to devalue what's inside of you. Some of you are praying for financial freedom, but you have a gift inside of you that people need and they're ready to give you money. You just decide not to activate it. Your gift is not an accident. Your excellence is not arrogance. And charging for the value that you bring is not sin. Stop calling it humility when it's actually fear. But before you can even get to the conversation of pricing with your customer, you first have to get your content out there so people can know you actually exist. And if you struggle with creating content like myself, I have 3 kids, I don't have all the time in the world. I created a free guide in the description that shows you how to make content in under 30 minutes each day. If you want to learn more about doing business God's way and stewarding your gifts, I have a video right around here where you can click next.